So what you're about to watch are 4 clips from Solovyov Live. Solovyov is one of Russia's main propagandists, and what he's about to say, in the first 3 clips, you'll see him talking. There'll be saber rattling, talking about how awesome they are, how they can destroy the West, and this weapon is for Western cities to be destroyed, and this weapon is for American cities. And in the 4th, he kind of loses it when a guest pushes back and says, maybe not. You shouldn't be doing this to Kyiv, and you're a demon, he says, and you've lost your soul, and well. Okay, you've got to see it to believe it, and I'll show you what's going on here. So let's watch these clips, and I'll read and periodically pause as necessary. Okay, here we go. Their main goal is to damage our economy. They understand that they need to try to wear us down economically. He's not wrong about this. This is exactly what needs to happen. In my last video, I was just talking about how it's a horse race between what's going on the battlefield and how fast the Russians can deplete the Ukrainians can deplete the Russian economy. That's really where the action is. It's about holding off the battlefield until the Russian economy can be destroyed. Okay, so he gets that. That's the language Trump has moved to. They talk about a deal. And what kind of deal could that be? A deal where we sacrifice our national interest, a deal that will raise questions inside the country, a deal after which they will say, well, you tried to solve the task set by the commander-in-chief in December 2021, and what did you get? Okay, so he's not happy with the deal. Instead of Finlandization of NATO, no, let's clarify. Finlandization of NATO means NATO becomes more like Finland, which was a neutral country. We got the NATOization of Finland, as Biden joked. You end up with troops standing on Ukrainian soil. So what did you achieve? What's the good in that? Then they'll try to destabilize us through various networks that haven't been fully neutralized inside the country. Right. So Ukraine is just apparently this persistent threat to Russia. And to some degree, it really is, as a contrast to what Russia is. But it's not like that. Russia, however, is this consistent, constant threat to Ukraine and even to much of Western Europe, even not just Eastern Europe. So there's this weird mirroring effect that happens where they blame their opponents for the very things that they do. We'll look for some of that. All these tricky little schemes to provoke the Maidan on Russian territory. Okay, so they're worried about that. They're worried about an overthrow of the government or some kind of revolt within Russia. I'm not sure that that's going to happen. One of my viewers said this early on, that Russians are peasants, Ukrainians are Cossacks, and I think that there is a big difference there. But yeah, but listen to what he has to say next, because the Russians are employing exactly this method. The methods are well known. There are plenty of sleepers in our country who, for a Big Mac and a Coca-Cola, would sell their own mothers. Right? This is what Russia's doing, finding dupes within European cities to fly FPV drones for, 100 or 1,000 euros, let alone the motherland. And judging by some of the decisions that are sometimes made, there are quite a few of them, even in fairly high places. Do they think this is some kind of Italian-style strike where there is complete unwillingness to listen to the front, what the front needs, to what the motherland needs, just a bird song of an attempt to ignore what's happening entirely? Okay, so again, they're doing the same things to Europe that they're complaining about that their opponents want to do to them. But their opponents didn't want to do it to them before you started, crossing over their territory and with a hot war. Okay, this is clip number 2 now. All weapons only make sense when they are used, when an enemy sees it and feels the results of its use. That's all fine, but it doesn't work. We hit with a Rishnik and they didn't get it. Why? Because we only struck Ukrainian territory. They don't care. Okay. All right. So they say these hyperbolic things that any sane, rational person would never say. Like if you were a leader of a country and you're saying, yeah, I'm going to hit this other country because, we can show that we can do it. They get a vote and they get to do it back if you do that to them. So this might not be your best plan. If we simply declare that we don't care, it's for us a legitimate target. Okay. Now here we're talking about things like in Britain. In Britain, they decided that they were going to do I said build the octopus anti-drone drones, and if you're doing something like that, then this military factory in Britain is a legitimate target. But it's not a legitimate target. It's sovereign British territory, and if you hit that, you have a whole different problem set. To begin with, Volodya, don't say to begin with. This isn't the beginning. He's getting upset. To begin with, our minister must go out and say it and articulate it, not Solovyov, but the minister. So he's not contradicting Solovyov. So look at Solovyov's face here. He's not contradicting him. He's saying we need actually government officials to be saying the kind of crazy stuff that Solovyov is saying here. It's weird. They're all frightened. Let them be afraid, at least in words for now. No words. Nobody believes words anymore. We have to strike and strike hard. And here, I think the context is striking outside of Ukraine into a Western country. And they say this kind of stuff every day. It's incredible to watch. All right, next clip. The next clip, it gets even a little bit worse. And then it's worse after that where Solovyov loses it. Let's watch this. Let's assume the worst case scenario. We're working in conditions of total isolation. So what? Well, we'll just continue to be in the conditions. No, we'll finally switch to other types of weapons, he says. We'll finally strike with our full might and finally stop playing around. Okay, this is one of the Russian propaganda points that I see quite a bit, that they're saying, well, we're just fighting with one hand tied behind our back. After all, it's only a special military operation. We're not fighting with our full might. If they could have done more by now, like Putin put the deadline on taking Pokrovsk now 3 times at least, that we're going to take it by this time. Nope. We're going to take it by that time. Nope. We're going to take it by this time. Well, October 15th just passed. So, yeah, if they could have done it, they would have done it. But we'll finally wipe off everything off the face of the earth and then calm down. As for weapons, this is indeed a very important issue, because if Orishnik, which you insist on, is for Paris and London and the like. Wait, Orishnik missiles? Remember the big Orishnik? It could carry a nuke, but even with conventional, it was a very hard strike. And they brought it out, trotted it out as a wonder weapon, and nothing could match it. Okay. And now they have a new wonder weapon, which is they'll talk about in a second. Because if Orishnik, which you insist on, is for Paris and London and the like, then the Brevestnik is for Washington, Chicago, Seattle, Los Angeles. Okay, this is how they're talking. Right. And they are going to they're going to lose their stuff. Right. If in the West, if Trump said anything like that, right, they would just go, no pun intended, ballistic. All right, let's go to the next one. By the way, here, I want to show you the Brevestnik missile, the new one that they're trotting out, can go 1,400 kilometers. Can it go far? Yeah. In the east, it can go to Hawaii. In the west, it can go from Moscow. It could reach to Hawaii. In the west, it could go to southern Chile or Argentina, southern Indian Ocean. It could go to the southern hemisphere as far as South Pacific, east of New Zealand. It could hit pretty much anywhere in the world. But the question is, so what? I mean, you could already hit anywhere in the world by deploying like nuclear submarines or other things along these lines. There's not really any extra capability. You could already have done this. It's just that you can do it from land-based launch at home. I don't quite get it. Okay, so let's turn our attention to the last clip. The guest gets under Solovyov's skin, and Solovyov just goes off on him. So shall we strike Kyiv? Yes, that worm. Where did this person come from? And now we're going to, no, I tell you this, leave Kyiv. It will be easier, Solovyov says, and then he starts to lose his temper. Just get up and walk out, just like the people in Belgorod were forced to. Am I supposed to pity the people of Kyiv now? Don't hold your breath. That's it. There is no Kyiv, and there never will be. Because you have cursed and betrayed it. You have betrayed its holy places. You have desecrated them. But you have no right to be here because you are demons who have betrayed your history and your faith, purification by water and fire. You have said this yourself on our broadcasts, citing the prophecies of clergymen. I'm not sure what I just saw there. Like, Solovyov is going on using some kind of biblical imagery and whatever to talk about how he's demons because I don't even understand quite what was going on, but Solovyov clearly lost it. So tell me what you saw here, because This gives you some insight into just the mentality, the warmongering mentality that Solovyov has. And remember, it's calculated, it's scripted in order to speak the Russian narrative to the people within Russia. Like this is going to be resonating with people that are 50, 60, 70. The older you are, the more you're buying what you just saw here. Put that in the comments below. Thank you for your time, the likes, the shares, and the subscribes. And thank you for being the kind of person who cares about Ukraine.